at the end of the show. We've all been there, right? You're driving along, stop at the light when a shiny new car pulls up next to you, and you start thinking maybe now is the time to buy a new car. But when is buying a new car worth the money, and what should you consider before you do? Consumer Reports auto editor Mark Rechtin joins us now to share his advice. Hey, Mark, great to have you back on the show. So let's just get right down to it here. How do you decide? What are the first things to consider when you're deciding whether or not to buy a new car?
There are three major factors what you have to consider, involving how much it costs to maintain your current car. In other words, does the cost of repairing and maintaining your current car, is it more than what a new car payment would be? There's also safety factors involved, and a lot of new safety technology has come out in the last couple of years that is far superior to what is in older cars. And then there's the idea of infotainment. In other words, pairing your smartphone to your car, which is a lot better now. And not only are these systems inside cars better, but Apple and Android also have their own bespoke systems, which will run on the screen on your existing car.
You know, there's so much going on with that. Let's talk a little bit about, first, you mentioned the safety features. According to you guys at Consumer Reports, and just let me tell our audience here, you guys buy your own cars, you test your own cars, you know, and right there they are behind you. What are the most important safety features?
Well, if you're driving a much older car, you want to make sure that your car has at least electronic stability control, which we believe is the most important safety advance since the seatbelt. But since then, there have been a lot more interesting inventions that keep you also safe from the more minor accidents. Cross-traffic alert, which looks out the sides of the car as you're backing out of a parking space. And also because a lot of collisions these days are rear-end collisions, there also is a thing called forward collision warning, where it warns you of maybe you're not braking hard enough relative to the car in front of you. It uses a radar tracking system to sense how quickly you're closing on the car in front of you. And it will actually, some cars will actually brake for you to bring the car to a stop so you don't get in an accident.
Do you go for all of this high-tech stuff? I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff in my car, and half of it I don't even know how to use. Is there too much sometimes?
There are some pieces of equipment that are on cars that they say is for safety that you think they're bothersome until you really need them. For instance, there's a feature called lane departure warning. So if you stray out of your lane, it will detect the roads, the lines in the road. And it will annoy you to no end that beep, 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 you're drifting out of your lane, especially if you're on a 2-lane rural road. But that one time when you're driving home late and you're a little tired and you start falling asleep behind the wheel, and we've all been there, that's when that lane departure warning beeps and wakes you up, and you realize you gotta pull over and take a break.
Can I stop thinking about miles per gallon now that gas prices are so low?
Well, if there's one certainty in the world of gas prices, is that they will always come back up. But in fact, here's the interesting thing. Because gas prices are low, demand for hybrid vehicles is actually down, and there are pretty big incentives on them. So if you go and buy a hybrid right now, you can get a great deal, and that way when gas prices come back up, you look all the smarter.
All right, I'll tell you what doesn't make me look smarter is that 46% depreciation after 3 years. That kills me. Mark, we got to go. Oh, sorry. Do you want to add something? Go right ahead.
Yeah, it's just one thing. That's why we always recommend that you buy sort of a near new car. You don't have to buy a new car, but if you're making that decision on whether or not to buy new, go to the April issue of Consumer Reports or to consumerreports.org online. We have a handy-dandy decision tree that will walk you through the process of whether or not you need to buy a new car.
Well promoted, Mark. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot, Gerri.